Welcome back to the farm for another project. If this is your first time, I hope you enjoy. As you can tell here, we got a cold, snowy day here in Washington, so we're gonna be giving the CNC a break today, but we got a couple other projects we can work on. So let's head inside the shop and let's get started building. Cat jumping through there. All right, so today what we're going to be working on is my wife wants to have some floating shelves added to the bathroom. So I've never built floating shelves before, so first thing I want to do is kind of give her a visual reference of size. So I just kind of laid these out, and I haven't screwed these together yet, just so that she could pick the size of the shelves before we put them together. And she didn't want anything that had too much character because we want to kind of go with more of an updated new theme in the bathroom. So I picked this piece of maple that has a little bit of character, but is still pretty light. Now the biggest problem with this is it still has a little kind of a little bow in it, and it also has this live edge. So the first thing I'm gonna do is cut this into small usable pieces, and then I'm gonna run it through the planer. So let's go ahead and get that started so we can start building the outsides of these floating shelves. Okay, so now we have everything cut down into our real usable pieces. So what we're gonna do now is run everything through the planer just to get rid of some of that thickness we don't need all of our shelves to be so thick. One thing that I do, this kind of little trick here to avoid the snipe that you get on both ends from a planer, is I like to just cut a scrap piece of the same piece of wood that I'm going to be running through there. So now as each piece starts to run through, towards the end of it, you run this piece through it. So all the snipe happens on this, not on the board you're doing. I'll run a couple through here, show you what it looks like, show you how it helps avoid the snipe, and then we'll get all these done, and then let's finish getting these shelves built. So you can see here, there's just a very ever so slight bit, but enough that you can actually sand it out when you're using that little scrap piece. So now we'll go through, I'm going to keep hitting both sides of these till I'm going to cut this thickness down probably about a quarter of an inch, so that these are right about ½ inch or maybe a little bit thicker. So I'll run all these through and then we'll finish building these shelves. Now, if you haven't made a table saw sled yet, you need to make one, because this is another one of those examples that you will just use it all the time. As you can finally mark out where you're going to get your cut. So you can see right here, this is what I need, but I need to repeat this cut 4 times. So what I can do now is I can just take this clamp, I can just clamp it lightly so I can make sure that each board is going to butt right up against it. And then I just move this until I get it exactly where I need it to. So I can make sure as I'm going through, now you can get nice and close, you can actually see right where the teeth of the blade are going to touch the very edge of your line. You can adjust accordingly. I want it to be just a hair oversized, like that. You can just clamp this down in place. Now every time you put this board back on, you're going to get the same cut. So if you have a table saw and you haven't built this sled like this, you definitely need to build one, because man, they are a lifesaver for time for repeating your cuts. Okay, so I went ahead and marked what I want all the faces. I hit that with a pencil, that way I can also do my sanding so I know which side I have on the front. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use our Kreg jig, and we're going to go through it. We're going to put 3 screws on the bottom, probably 5 or 6 along the front, since this is going to kind of be the bottom of it. We want to make sure everything holds together nice and tight. And then we'll come back, we're going to mount the lid up on top. And then we're going to pre-drill, and we're going to countersink all of our holes in the top of it, so that way I can put a little putty over the top of each screw. So once this thing is all put together, you won't see any of the holes in it. So let's get this all drilled out, and then we're going to go inside and we'll get a test fit. So my wife liked that shelf so much that now she wants me to build a shelf so we can put the toilet paper rolls in that with another little shelf on it. So let's rip down another piece of maple. Let's get started on the second shelf. Okay, I haven't sanded anything, but I've got the basic layout all done. These have already gone through the planer. So what we're going to do on this one is we're going to have the back side fit like so. These are going to be the sides. And then this will be the top. And the toilet paper rolls will just stack right inside here with a little bit of clearance up on top. So we should, in theory, be able to fit roughly 4 rolls of toilet paper along here, and they should all fit in there pretty nice. I did leave just a little bit of a gap in the top. And then this upper shelf, I went a little bit thicker on this just so my wife can still use this as an actual shelf on top as well. I went through, I'm going to do a final sanding of everything before I glue and finish nail it. And I'm actually going to Kreg jig the back side of this, so that way you won't actually see any of the screw holes, since this is going to be mounted up against the wall, since this is going to be kind of like a little floating shelf. So let's go ahead and get this everything all drilled. We'll put some finished nails in the top with some glue, and then we'll get a final product here in the bathroom. All right, and there we are, all final sanded and ready to go. Now you probably noticed when I was doing the video on the backside, I had forgot to actually do my crick jig holes for the top one. So luckily it was quick and easy to get back and get in there before the glue dried. So that was a fortunate mishap on my part. But now that this is final sanded, got everything all done, I went ahead and little finish nails, I kind of punched the heads down underneath. So I got all the sanding finished up. Now this maple has some pretty beautiful coloring and texture to it. So that one's going to be pretty awesome. So I kind of picked this side of it going for the top here. So now we're gonna go ahead and pre-drill some holes in the back. We'll get it mounted inside. We'll get our final product with everything all up on the wall. And you got both of these installed. This came out nice. My wife really enjoys the colors. They look really good. We just got redone doing first tile in this bathroom, and the contrasting colors look super nice. Those came out really good for my first one. I was really happy with that. But now it's just time for a little cleanup. So thanks for joining me for another video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to give a thumbs up. Feel free to share. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I'll do what I can to answer them for you. If you really enjoyed this video, you want to join me for all my other projects, all my other adventures, hit that subscribe button. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you around.